Get up, yay, you off my spot. Your spot seems to you. I like the spot I was in. Chill, you. Don't get it. Why not? 'Cause there's that spot there. That was my spot. Peyton picks on the girls. Sometimes, which I don't know one sign, I'm kind of like, oh, that means they're integrating really well 'cause he's treating them like sisters. And that's horrible, and honestly, you were a true sister. Now you're being picked on. I was standing there and all of a sudden, Brianna comes up to me and she's screaming at the top of her lungs. She goes, Peyton hit me in the eye. And I was like, what? So we've had some problems with Peyton and Garrison. Picking on my little kids. Dad, are you kidding me? These kids have been doing this way too long, way too much, and something needed to be said now. Christine, Meri said when she got pregnant you were slightly resentful that she stole your thunder since you were 4 months pregnant at the time. Was there some? It was so resentment. There was, and I remember telling Meri, I'm like, I hope you don't get pregnant, because yes, I did, 'cause then it won't be such a special thing for me. Oh, it was very mean, it really was, and I felt very bad for saying it. Hey friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. 2024 yesterday, we did a video and talked about Robin Brown and her knowledge of the dysfunction within the family. By now, you know that they wrote a book called Becoming Sister Wives, and Robin admitted in this book that she went to marriage counseling with Cody and Rob. Cody and Meri before they got married, and after they got married, she also acknowledged that she knew about issues between Cody and Christine and issues between Meri and Janelle on this past season. Robin has pretended like she didn't know that there were any issues family and saw things one certain way. Well, this video we're going to go back to something that happened before Robin joined the family and even after Robin joined the family, and it's between Meri, Janelle, and Christine. And there's been a lot of discussion about this ongoing feud between Christine and Meri not being at all connected to the family, and many of the family members wanting nothing to do with her, 'cause when mine and his relationship is better, mine and their relationship is better, 'cause seriously, when I'm mad at him or when he and I are having issues, I detach from everybody and everything, including them and include. And I don't want to really have anything to do with family. Well, back in a Lost Tell All that was part of season 3, but TLC has removed from the internet and all their streaming platforms. Meri described how her inability to get pregnant caused friction, not only between her and Cody, but also caused problems between her and Janelle and Christine and her. And ultimately, this issue with her not getting pregnant results in the sister wives fighting, Meri feeling as though her marriage to Cody was invalidated because she couldn't get pregnant, and ultimately her taking out her aggression on either the wives or their children. Janelle was actually the first to get pregnant. How hard was that for you to deal with? It was rough, just because I, wanted to be able to have a child of my own, give Cody a baby too. However, I have to say that didn't care how she felt about my news if it upset her, so be it. Things were incredibly tough in our relation, so her feelings were of little importance to me at that moment. That's how I felt at that time. We were at a tough place, and there was an incident between Christine and Meri that terminated their friendship because Meri went across the line with Christine's children, that she believed she couldn't trust Meri anymore, and she also didn't believe she could trust anyone in the family, and the incident was caught on camera, and it included Meri yelling and screaming at the children, specifically Peyton and Garrison, and there appeared to have been some sort of adult that might have had their hands on one of the children, and you could hear the altercation in the very beginning of this episode. It happened on the season 3, and the episode was 4th of July Rebellion, and you can hear them go, what was that? Why did you do that? And then Cody's like, you poked her in the eye, and then there's a tussle. And then Meri starts yelling at the kids. So I'll show you this clip and then we'll go into kind of the fallout from this, you guys. These are your brothers and sisters, whether you like it or not. And you better start treating them like it. Don't give me that I see it. It's passed down. It's from how you and all of you guys treat each other. and it's absolutely ridiculous. For one, I'm tired of it. Just saying, I'd like to have some backup for moms if anybody backs me up to me. The timing was completely off. Cody and Meri brought in Robin into the family and really didn't consult Christine or Janelle about their decision. Meri and Cody had no obligation to tell the other wives about what they were doing because Meri, as the first wife, her job was to complete the law of Sarah, which means her job is to be the bait and to bring new women into the family. Cody has even stated as much in the very first season. Yeah, you have to know that Janelle and I might have never married Cody, and we wouldn't have married him on our own. They took Meri pulling some strings, and Cody by himself would have never got done it. He's has to had Meri's back too. Meri bonded with Janelle and Christine before. It was a serious thought in my mind. Meri's the bait. Christine writes about in the book about how when she was pregnant with truly Meri began to again lash out at her children, and this was a theme that happened when the wives were having babies. Meri felt invalidated because she couldn't bring in new children, and her worth as a wife was only valued on her uterus because her job is to bring babies into the kingdom. And so because she can't bring in new babies, she'll bring in new wives. She needed to do something, and viewers believed that she was doing this to get back at Christine, and it's hard to say. Ultimately, she's fulfilling what she's supposed to do, and there was probably pressure on her from Cody to find him a new wife. And Christine writes about in the book about how this devastating argument happens because Meri decided to discipline the kids, and she felt she went way too far, and she said she blew up at Meri, and this is actually described by Christine in the last tell. I didn't care for the way that she was. I'm parenting my kids, and so I blew up at her. I absolutely blew up at her, and we haven't worked through all of it. To be honest, we haven't. I feel I can open up to Meri more, and there's certainly been times recently where I've talked to her, but not like it was before. I'm real. You were like best friends, and this was the defining moment. Yeah, and so I really became closed off. Meri Brown is very type A, and I mean this to say that she is the type of person that is meticulous, organized, and a little bit neurotic about how things appear in her home. She's very controlling about how things are in her house. She doesn't want kids to jump on their couches. She doesn't want messes. She doesn't want people to touch her things. She doesn't want her things to be broken. She doesn't want to deal with the dirty rambunctiousness of children. She believes that children should be obedient and should honor their parents at all costs, that really having this adage of children should be seen and not heard, which is a very different place than Christine and Janelle described this in the book by saying by writing it was always been very important to me that our children grow up with a strong sense of respect for both people and things. When the kids were young, I tried very hard to instill this in them. I wanted them to respect one another by playing nicely together and getting along. I wanted them to respect their parents by being obedient and not talking back when asked to do something. When I see one of our children do this, it gets my Irish up, meaning her temper. I also think it's necessary for children to respect things. This could be each other's toys, their private space. And yes, this could also be furniture. I'm the type of mom who doesn't allow jumping on furniture. I know I'm not always been looked too highly upon by some of my sister wives because this makes me seem too strict, but my furniture has definitely outlived some of theirs. I remember a time years ago when Cody was sort of getting after me because he didn't want the kids to feel like they were walking into a museum when they came into my house. I think, however, that he has mellowed somewhat about that opinion as he has seen my household furniture last longer than my sister wives. I've learned to, over the years, I've learned to relax somewhat when it comes to the way the kids act in my home. Well, I still expect them to treat me in my space with respect and not act like wild animals running through the house. I have become more patient when they do. She also said that she did a lot of the discipline before when they lived in Wyoming. She and Christine shared the duties of raising the children, but it's two separate fights that happen between Meri and Christine. So Christine writes in the book that prior to Robin coming into the family, Meri gets really hard on the kids. And like she said in that clip, she cannot handle the fact that Meri has gone after her kids this way, and Meri is the kind of person that will scream and yell to address things, and apparently according to Peyton, will go past the verbal sometimes with the children. Christine said that once Meri crossed that boundary, she was never able to trust Meri again. And it also made her not trust Cody, because if Cody was going to endorse and encourage what Meri was doing to the kids, then she didn't know if she was in the right place. She didn't know if she could trust anyone in the family, and then within that breakdown while she's pregnant with True, dealing with this lack of trust. They then decide to bring in Robin, which further rattles her foundation that she cannot trust these people because she doesn't think that they have the best interest at heart for her or her children, to really almost everybody at that point too, though it takes a lot of trust to have a relationship. And I don't really trust very well. There's been you don't trust your sister wives, not completely. There's a part of me that I always keep to myself, and at some point, I'm sure I'll come to a place where I can open up and trust more, but I'm not there. Meri is just incredibly quiet during that part. It's very chilling that she doesn't recognize or even really respond to what Christina is saying. There's no follow-up questions asked to Meri about what it was that she did or why she did that, and Cody mentions that Meri has the eye for the critical, and she will point things out and be very critical about your hair is out place, or this doesn't look good, or I don't like this, or you shouldn't do that. And Janelle talks about her criticizing makeup that she wore to make fun of her, mocking her. Christina said over the years on the show even that Meri would belittle her and make fun of her while they were out in public doing events together, put her down a lot in front of their friends and family. And you can see twitches of this on Sister Wives, where Meri and Joy is kind of gauging up on Christine and with Robin. And I think once they brought Robin in, and once Christine witnessed that Meri was going to go after her kids and target her children as the bullies of Robin's children, that foundation completely eroded. She was unable at that point to fix her relationship with Meri, because you have to remember Christine and her kids were basically told, we're bringing in Robin, and you just have to deal with it. Sit down and shut up and deal with it. And then they put them on a show, and you got to sit down and shut up. And then when the kids are acting out, there's no discussion about why they're doing the things that they're doing. There's no mediation with the children or even parenting about the choices that are happening, the decisions that are being made. They're not getting a pulse check on the kids to find out if they're coping well. They're putting the children in a high-stress environment, telling the kids' mom and dad are going to be arrested, moving them to a different state outside of the church, away from all of their family and friends, and then they bring in a brand new family and say, you have to deal with all of this. And then they expect the kids to just deal with it. It would be natural for the kids to lash out and act out and take out their aggressions on the other children. Because what's happening is the kids see how the moms take things out on each other, so then they're following suit. So they see dad takes things out on the wives take things out on each other, the wives take things out on the kids. And then what did the kids do? They take out their aggression on each other, because that's the only way that they can get their aggression out. So there's abuse in all levels of polygamy. And Christine was the last wife, so she had absolutely no say for the longest time. She was forced to basically do everything for the family and not complain. And then when she finally wakes up, she's stuck in a show and has to stay there and smile all the way through it for 10 plus years before she leaves Cody. So when the second fight actually happens in Big Bear, which happens on the show, Christine and Meri go into it in that scene, which I'll show. You hear the timing was completely off on Meri talking to the kids and yelling at them and getting after them. So it's best to just let things slide where kids are being mean to other kids. It's just good to just let that go. I would have preferred just been able to talk to Peyton. 'Cause I didn't know that anybody else was involved. I was so angry. If Meri had not done this, I would have taken them all back to the campsite and the night would have been over. But do you think it did any good? I very much disagree with you, Christine, that it was bad timing. To be clear, Meri was screaming and yelling at a bunch of children in broad daylight on a public street where there is traffic going both ways. They're in Big Bear, a town that's a tourist town. There are restaurants and patios where people are literally watching all of this take place. I told you about how a woman that was there when this all went down, and Big Bear mentioned that she saw this all happened and said she was dumbfounded and flabbergasted. She even said that she witnessed Meri windmilling the allegedly, and this is all taking place public, and there's a camera crew right there, and she's screaming at the children at the top of her lungs and mind. Everything happens so fast that there's absolutely no time for anyone to actually verify if what Brianna said happened actually happened. Brianna was known at this time to do things and run and tell on the other kids and make things up. And I'm not saying that it's her fault if this is actually what happened, and if they did poke her on the eyes, also not okay. But if she's also making it up then to go after the kids, that's not okay either. And yelling at the kids and screaming at them and having either you or Cody hitting the kids in response to it doesn't teach the kids that poking an eye or hitting another kid is the wrong response. If they're going to hit another kid and your response is to hit them, all you're teaching them is that it was okay to hit. It's not teaching them a different tactic and then demanding the kids sit down, shut up, and deal with it. Is it really guiding a child? You just need to these are your siblings. And you need to accept them, and it's your fault that you're not accepting them, but they're doing nothing to help them integrate and accept one another. Again, they're placing kids in a high-stress situation. They're filming all of it. They're going public. They're forcing kids to be the face of polygamy. They've been under the threat of an investigation. They keep telling their kids that the kids are going to the mom and dad are going to get arrested, and then, when these altercations do happen, it's the kids that are getting bared and screamed at when they're not actually comforting the children and saying, "Oh my gosh, what can I do to help you? Did something happen?" And really, I can see where Christine is coming from, because, listen, I'm not at all for violence against children. I'm not at all for children hitting children. But I can also understand from Christine's perspective that she's the parent. She might want to handle it privately. She doesn't. She wants to get an understanding of what actually happened, and humiliating Peyton and the other kids publicly isn't going to change anything. It's just going to humiliate them on the show. So you have to remember that not only is Meri doing this publicly to the kids, but she's also doing this to a national audience, further reinforcing to the children that they need to sit down and shut up and deal with it. And that's the message they're getting. And Janelle and Christine addressed that this season, that they did not do the blending of families very well. But as much as I don't like how Christina and Janelle handled things, they had such little power in this dynamic. They were never legal wives. They never really had any financial claims of their own, and they really were the concubines. And they had to just do whatever Meri said and deal with it. They're the ones that their kids, Janelle's kids and Christine's kids, and Christine and Janelle really were the ones that ultimately get the most abused, while on this show, Meri has legal wife status. Meri constantly makes things about herself. Meri utilizes and plays victim when people expose her for doing what she does. And honestly, Meri and Robin act a lot alike. They both fall into tears. Whenever they're confronted, they both play the victim. Whenever they're confronted, they rarely take accountability for what they've done. It's generally all about them, and Meri is defending the kids as an allegiance to Cody, as an allegiance to Robin, further cementing to Christine that she can't trust Meri, she can't trust Cody, and she can't trust Robin. And to be clear, what Peyton's doing, or what Garrison was doing at that time when they were children, is not okay. but yelling at them publicly isn't going to help either. I'm a parent of an 11-year-old boy. I've never actually yelled at my child publicly. I cannot imagine putting my child through public humiliation if I need to discipline him. We don't even really do discipline here. We work through emotions and understand causes and all of it. We do choices and good choices versus bad choices and understanding why we're getting angry. Different things, we don't just scream at him and tell to sit down and shut up out in public. That doesn't do anything. So Christine is obviously admits she wasn't super kind to Meri. She admits to flaunting her pregnancies to Meri. Meri admits to lashing out at the kids, lashing out at the women, but Meri was really the brute, and she really did cause a lot of pain to the children. And even if you don't like that everyone is saying this, it's evident when you actually look at the evidence that Meri was doing things for the pleasure of Cody, to please Cody, to win Cody's favor, and to win Robin's favor, or all at the detriment of Janelle and Christine. And it's really shocking that it took Janelle and Christine as long as it did for them to leave, given how poorly they were treated. I mean, Meri was treated terribly for years and years and years, and still tried to win favor with Cody because she took her position as first white very seriously all the way to the end. I mean, even to the extent of when Christine left, she said, "I wouldn't have brought her into the family if she would have left like this," as though she controlled the marriages. That's disgusting. You know what I mean? I have a lot of empathy for Christine here. I have empathy for the kids because even if the kids are acting out, they're responding to a very high stress situation, and all of this became like entertainment for viewers, and the kids ultimately were the ones that were humiliated by it. Parents deserved and should have taken responsibility for it. So that's my thoughts on that's my deep dive into Christine and Meri's feud, and why Christine and Meri will never be friends. And frankly, I understand why they would never be friends. I would never trust a woman that laid their hands on my children and screamed at my kids. All right, you guys, let me know what your thoughts are. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. If you haven't subscribed, click on the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.